Brasov County, the heart of Transylvania, and gateway to a land of myth and legends. At its feet, an ancient walled city perched in the lap of the mighty Carpathian peaks. Here time stands still as the future and the past combine in an explosion of colours, crafts, culture and creativity. Thousands of years of history have moulded this landscape, spreading outwards from the old centre, embracing ancient villages, castles, fortified churches, gorges, lakes and sullen crags, and offering a stained glass window into a legacy both savage and sublime. Every spring, the rolling hills north of Brasov burst into bloom as a technicolor coat of wild flowers jostle with the vivid green of alpine meadows. No other time of the year is more vibrant or visceral. Sleepy communities come back to life as the fields are planted, the livestock put out to pasture. Deep in the forest, the streams and waterfalls shed their mantle of ice as bears emerge from their caves to forage for food and replace the fat reserves lost during long months of hibernation. May and June bring an influx of visitors who will soon be able to fly direct to Brasov's upcoming airport to immerse themselves in Transylvania's rich heritage or spend time getting back to nature. Aspirational new eco-lodges open their doors to an increasing number of cultural tourists keen to spend a few days in authentic splendour. Like this converted schoolhouse in the Saxon village of Chinksaw, or the stunning Balaban Inn, a perfect reproduction of a traditional home now on display in Sibiu Village Museum. Among the many attractions that Brasov County has in abundance are its hilltop castles. These include the spectacular citadels of Raznov, Bran and Rupea that dominate the skyline with their towering battlements and thick stone ramparts. Transylvania's most iconic landmarks, however, are the profusion of ancient Saxon fortified churches that once served not just as places of worship, but also of refuge during times of conflict. Possibly the best known is Viskry, built in 1258, and the monasteries of Prejme and Herman, a 10-minute cab ride from Brasov city. Contemporary cloisters like this one in Sambata de Sus are also open to the public and afford a unique insight into monastic life. Like many sacred sites in Romania, this convent near Șincoveche was constructed next door to a pagan cave temple that dates back to 5000 BC. For those interested in crafts and culture, there are also several working watermills that still produce traditional textiles and grind the flour for the local bakeries. As spring melts into summer, the meadows are harvested and haystacks punctuate the landscape, as they have done each year for generations immemorial. There are few places left in Europe that still proudly preserve traditional farming techniques, one of the main reasons for such a treasure trove of biodiversity. The abundance of fresh produce also contributes to the diversity of Romanian cuisine. Visitors can enjoy ample opportunities to sample regional delicacies and more international fare at local food festivals and a growing number of smart new restaurants. Dissecting Brașov County to the west are the lofty pinnacles of the Făgăraș Mountains. Not far from the foothills is the city from which this formidable branch of the Carpathians takes its name. Here sprawls one of Romania's most beautiful castles, surrounded by a picturesque moat and containing a medieval museum, complete with period throne room. With the onset of summer, temperatures can rise to a blistering 40 degrees. Thankfully, there are plenty of wild swimming spots, like this one at Racoș, next to an extinct volcano and an imposing clutch of basalt columns, which, aside from their geological appeal, also attract more romantically inclined visitors. The local town also boasts the partially restored late Renaissance castle of Suscod Bethlen, a spooky but impressive edifice that, with a bit of help and some finishing touches, could generate much needed revenue for the local community. As the days get shorter, Transylvania's arboreal landscape is transformed from a tired green to a breathtaking blaze of red and gold. Autumn in Brașov County is almost indescribably beautiful. To fully immerse yourself in this treasure trove of colour, the Treehouse Hotel in Predeal offers the chance to slumber amongst the leaves and be serenaded to sleep by the sound of creaking branches. This is a season of plenty, and Romania's largest carnivores take full advantage of the chance to supplement their diet with the odd trip to one of Brașov County's many bear hides, like this one at Valea Lungă. Another once prevalent resident of these untamed forests is the bison, which is enjoying a renaissance in Romania with a growing number of reintroduction programs and reserves such as Valea Zimbrilor in Vama Buzăului. A little further upstream and you reach the Urlătoarea waterfall, an otherworldly rock formation sculpted by the constant drip and trickle of mineral springs from the hillside above. The most visited waterfall is the 7 Steps on the outskirts of Brașov city. An hour's walk takes you to a series of steel ladders that meander through a narrow gorge, where those less inclined to vertigo can marvel at the thundering torrents that rush and tumble below their feet. Autumn is also a time for foraging. A number of organisations offer truffle hunting excursions. There are few more satisfying experiences than a purposeful stroll through the forest, followed by the chance to plate up your findings for dinner. Within days, the russet cabaret of autumnal hues fade to brown, and the first snows drift lazily down from metallic skies. In a matter of minutes, the landscape is blanketed in a fresh cloak of brilliant white. Winter transforms the countryside, making even the most familiar surroundings seem strange and otherworldly. This is also a time to bring home the bacon, to light the hearth and prepare for the onset of Christmas. The streets of Brașov are draped in neon, while the central square becomes a mecca for all things festive. As the snows deepen, the ski season gets underway. In the hills above the city, Poiana Brașov opens its slopes once again. With over 30 kilometers of pistes weaving down the mountainside, this is one of Romania's largest and most spectacular ski destinations. Halfway down is Postivarul Cabin, built over 130 years ago by a local Saxon, now a busy restaurant serving hot food and cold beer. Back at base camp, après-ski gets underway in the many hotels and restaurants that cater to the steady stream of international clientele. While some people prefer to retire to the comforts of their room for the evening, the more adventurous can enjoy a traditional Romanian feast at the Caliba Haiducilor restaurant and food museum. Wintertime in Brașov County is a unique experience. The familiar faces of Bucegi and Piatra Craiului mountains are blurred and strange. Alpine villages like Peștera preside over the white valleys and huddle on the very edges of civilization. Their traditional wooden houses clustered along the sides of roads buried deep beneath the snow. And so we come full circle once more. Nature's seasonal drama unfolding alongside the less seamless ascent of man. An uneasy alliance forged down the millennia, cementing tradition with progress, nature with nurture. And while we continue to cherish the many treasures that define this corner of Transylvania, then Brașov County will remain one of the most magical and unspoilt regions in Europe.